welcome to your very first walk in the wilderness. My name is Lindsay Stevens, part of the Wyld community. Today I have one of my, I could give you all the logistics of who she is and where she's graduated from and all the experience she has, but she is just a sensei of mine, a friend of mine who has helped my family, has helped myself, and also helps me in the Wyld community to feel and to understand my emotions greater. So Brandi Cash is with us today. Brandi.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am excited to have this conversation with you. So this is February, which means it's a month of love. And typically the easy, I don't want to call it a sellout, but the easy answer for love in February is a romantic love with someone else, a partnership. But we are focusing on self-love this month because we can't love other people until we can really understand how much we love ourselves. And so the first question I have for you, Brandi, is what does self-love mean to you?
Well, I was super honored that you asked me for this because self-love is everything, and it's just so important because it will bleed into everything that you do. So for me, self-love is everything. Like it's literally how you interact with the world around you. It's how you interact with the people. It's how you interact with your life and your pace in life as well. It's all determined, and it all comes down to self-love for me. So I was super honored that you thought of me for this part because that means a lot to me, that I'm somebody that shows that, or that could be something that I am aspiring to also.
Right. I think it's funny because we think about self-love and it's like, go get a mani-pedi, which there's nothing wrong with a mani-pedi. I think those are great things. I think there's self-love and I think there's self-care, and I think they're two different things. And sometimes self-care can be a form of self-love. But let's just for a second talk about what we feel like the difference is between self-care and self-love. Mm-hmm. And what are they?
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should start on that one.
I'm an expert now. Okay, I'm an expert. No, I just think that there are things I do physically that help me to take care of my body. But I think the idea of self-love is a greater field, I guess. Like self-care makes me feel good for the afternoon until I chip my toenail polish, which I've stopped doing. Or like I get, my hair, my gray hairs come back, and after I wanted to do my hair, or my fingernail breaks, like those feelings are fleeting. But I think that self-love it's almost like a force field, maybe is a word I will use to describe it, that it's something you carry with you always, even if your toenail get chipped or your gray hairs are coming in or whatever else is happening in your life. The idea of self-love, it's like an orb or a force field of light around you that carries you, like you were saying, in the different paces and hats that you wear in your life.
I love that. And I love the idea of it being kind of almost an energy with you, because then that changes everything that you do and how you engage with everyone else. To me, self-love is also a lot about healthy boundaries and knowing when to say yes and when to say no, and actually being able to hear that and listen to that from yourself first before knowing what somebody else wants from you. Most of us can perceive what other people want from us, but it's really, really important and powerful when we can tell what we want from us first and then respond to that to the outside world.
Okay, my next question, Brandi, is how do you increase, or how do you show greater expressions of self-love?
Yeah, that's a great question, especially when you understand that self-love is more of almost like more of a hat that you put on for the day rather than specific principles or specific things or things that you're trying to control or guard. Like, I'm going to try and work really hard to be caring for myself in this way. Sometimes that makes more stress than it's worth, versus when you can just put on this energy or put on this expectation of, I'm going to love myself today, and that's what I'm running everything through, almost like a filter. I'm going to put on this filter of self-love. Then it helps you know who you are and what you feel good about versus filtering out all of the things that people want from you, right?
And it's true, because even though your days may feel like today actually is Groundhog Day.
Oh, funny.
Wow, wild. But it may feel like Groundhog Day, but if your filter is of self-love, like no matter what's coming at you, you can, you can either take it for what it is, or you can filter it to self-love, and your outcomes will be in the energy, the field that you'd like it to be, versus like whatever is thrown at you, because nothing is ever the same concrete every day, right? It's always changing. So how do you know yourself better so you can create your own self-love? Like, what do you do?
For me, it's all about internal introspection, being able to like listen and hear my own voice. There's so many voices that we have in our world, so many things that come in at us. But my own voice is going to be different than all of those. And there's lots of ways to tune into that. You can meditate. You can, I make sure that I don't plan anything before 8 a.m. and I usually wake up about 6, and I just have that time to make sure that I'm connected with myself and with what I am expecting of the day, or how I'm wanting to be in the day. And that is always centered and geared around my care of me, so that I can hear when it's a yes and when it's a no.
What if you don't hear? Like, what if you have a hard time? Because, I mean, I feel like I'm speaking from someone that has who takes care of like a household and children, and it's hard to hear anything actually. Because there's never silence, and typically I will relate hearing things with things being still or silent, and it's very challenging to create that. Like, how do you hear yourself? How do you know? Which sounds like really kind of sad to ask that question, but like really honestly, like how do you know? Because you spend so much time oftentimes caring for other people, or whether it's your work or your home or your spouse or whoever, your children. Like, there are so many things that are talking to you. I think it's probably fairly common that you have a hard time hearing what you need. What can we do to hear ourselves more, to love ourselves more? Yeah.
So one thing that comes to mind with that is this idea of creating space within yourself. So you have your own body, and you are the only one in your body. And so even if you have all of these things coming around you, anytime you can tune into your body, whether that's tactile or movement or exercising or meditating, whatever helps, breath, anything that can get you back into your own body will help you start to hear yourself a little bit more than the voices around you. One thing that I've done, and we've talked about this a lot, is the idea of a gut toaster. There's I've been a very indecisive person in my life.
Pause. You want to put this on record, just so you know, like, you save this information for your spouse, for your partner, for your coworkers. This is a game changer. I love the gut toaster. Okay.
So this idea of there's a place in your body that you can send your thoughts and your emotions to kind of get worked out within your body. So for me, it's like taking the best of my logic, because logic wants to figure everything out. Yep. And it takes the best of my heart, which is the emotions, and then it sends it all down deeper into the gut. So the gut, there's a lot of studies on this idea of a gut brain, but there's lots of neurons in the gut, and it can act as a second brain, and actually has a lot of things that can connect with your mood and different things. But to me, it's another power center, it's another energy center that can actually digest the thoughts and the emotions into more of the action, or into this is what I feel good about. My gut feeling on this is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of a funny story, but my children actually hate the gut toaster now because I make them use it all the time. My youngest, Gigi, is like, Mom, which shirt should I wear? And I was like, I don't know, put it in your toaster. And she was like, ugh. Like, we give away our choices a lot just because it's easier to have someone else tell us what to do, especially for my children. Like, a mother's always telling what to do. So she looks to me and says, what do I do? Or another daughter says, Mom, this person said this, what do I do? And I want them to have and hear their own voice. And the more we practice at a younger age, even small kids, like, so we'll say, put it in your toaster. And she's like, won't you just tell me what to do? And I'm like, no, like, what do you feel good in? What do you want to wear? You know? And so this idea of a gut toaster, of even things like, which direction am I supposed to go? I'm lost, you know? I don't know. Put it in your toaster. And there is something inside of you, this voice, this feeling, this intuition, something will pop up. It doesn't always pop up like right then. It's not like, ta-da! There's not always toast. Sometimes it's like a bagel. It needs longer time.
And that's the nice thing about it, as something you push down and you just trust that it will pop when it's ready.
Right.
And I love that idea, because sometimes we force ourselves, like, I need to be able to do this right now, or I should. Our head is very loud about that. This is what needs to happen now. Versus when you get into your body and you can sit on it for a minute, just relax on it, let it go for a minute, then it gets clarified into what you really want from that experience. So maybe it's, you know, I like this part, but we need more discussion about this. Or, you know, this boundary feels good, but we need to kind of tweak this over here. But it kind of clarifies that for you.
What a great way to practice listening. Like, what a great way. Like, I've had this experience too, where I put something in my toaster and what pops up is not what I put in it initially. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know that was in there. Like, how long has that been hanging out, right?
Cooking, yeah.
And typically it's to do with myself, like feelings I've had that I didn't know were in there. But I think it's one of those ways we talked about, ways that you can listen and try and hear your voice. so you can understand what your needs are better. The gut toaster.
Yes.
Your children, your family, your household will love it, and then they will hate it at some point. But anything I can do to help my kids start practicing it now, to listening to their voice, because I don't want it. One, I don't want to answer for them, and two, I want them to be independent. I want to be independent where I can trust my gut and go for it, and I can listen more clearly.